Hi, everyone, and welcome to Brain Drop, the vCom podcast where we invite our experts to stop by and drop a little of the latest digital transformation tech on our listeners.
Hi everyone, it's Jethro Castillo from vCom, and today I am joined by Matt Marquez, our Vice President of Operations Management. Matt has been in the telecom operations industry since 1999, a part of vCom since 2020, and is passionate about being a true advocate for the customer. In this episode, Matt talks about better operations management and how experience and intentionality allows us to more effectively manage what businesses shouldn't, giving businesses more resources to focus on what they should. Enjoy. Why don't we just start off by kind of you introducing yourself, kind of tell us your role, how long you've been in this industry, and maybe a fun fact if you.
Yeah, so I've been in the telecom operations industry for since 1999, basically when I graduated college. I started with US West in their wireless customer care organization, moved into some different positions, including management and training over there, ran some of the teams on the repair side of the house, and that led to the service management piece that I jumped into at CenturyLink. And what service management was anything post-sales we were responsible for. That was the customer's point of escalation when things weren't working the way that they were supposed to. So that's really what has instilled, where I'm at today as far as, trying to get things done and doing whatever is necessary. That's how I got onto vCom, actually, is they were one of my first customers when I moved to service management. So then I came over to vCom and been doing this. I started over the NOC side of the house, and that led to the position I'm in now, which is the VP over operations. So what I am responsible for at vCom is I am the customer interface on anything, kind of going back to that post-sale piece of it. So anything on the operations side, once the sale has been closed and customer has approved it, my team is now the point of contact with the customer, and we own the rest of that transaction with the customer.
Did you find ways that made it difficult to kind of deal with operations management within that organization?
So operations, most companies, they have processes, and the best way to say it is they have their work is done on a conveyor belt. So there's certain steps that it goes through, and I would say 85% of the work follows along on that conveyor belt, to where there's not a whole lot of intervention needed because the systems are so well developed that it just moves forward and it works. What I found, though, is that 15%, that 10-15% that doesn't work, it really doesn't work. And that's where the manual intervention and the service management team that I was on before, and the ops team that we have at vCom now, that's really what we're here for.
Could you elaborate on what, or is it, dependent on organization, what that 10-15% is that makes the conveyor belt less smooth, if you will?
And I would say probably one of the hardest things and it's not necessarily part of that conveyor belt that I was talking about, but there's a lot of facility requirements and builds to get network services put into certain buildings. Copper was installed into buildings, way back when, right? So there was copper, and that's what we were using up until about 20 years ago. Now, 20, 30 years ago. Now fiber is the main thing, but there's not fiber going into all of the buildings. So there has to be some type of fiber or other facilities brought into the buildings to deliver services, to give the customers the bandwidth that they're looking for. And those can be a challenge as well, just because you're dealing with permits, you're dealing with the property managers, you're dealing with, digging up a parking lot to put conduit in to run into the building that nobody wants to see because it takes forever to get that done. And then you have to make sure that it meets the customer's expectations, but also that the contractors go back and they fix what they dug up to put in the facilities.
When I think of operations management, I always naturally think of like the service and support team, the NOC, the customer support. I can give you anecdotes of how exhausting customer support can be, or I don't know if I'm being escalated to the right place, or I'm on hold for 30, 45 minutes. Is that something that you find traditionally, especially in the IT telecom space, that customer support might not be what you as a customer consumer want?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of similarities between what the repair side of the house runs into with getting something resolved as to what my team runs into working to get services installed to begin with. Um, the main difference is, fortunately for us, the operation, when we're doing this work, we don't have to sit on hold with the carrier for a half hour in the middle of the night just to get a tech on the line. Now, we have to sit on the line sometimes for a half hour to an hour in the middle of the day when we're working. And that's one of the things that we really bring to the forefront is we take a lot of that work away from our customers and really work to be their advocate to get these things done. So we take some of that, or most of that busy work away from them. So they don't have to do the follow-ups. They don't have to do the calling into the carriers. They don't have to sit on hold. They don't have to do the getting transferred from this department to this department because the option you chose took you to business repair instead of residential repair. I think the shortest tenure on my team is around 15 years on the network PM side of the house. So we've gone through pretty much every iteration and every carrier that you can think of to get through on this type of work and figure out how to traverse the carrier's roadblocks to success.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but essentially you're saying we take a lot of the things that can take up a lot of your time and we do it ourselves so you can focus more on the core part of your business. I know I'm simplifying that. Is there anything else you want to add on to that, correct, expand upon?
What I would say is we take that burden away. Carriers have specific ways that they want orders submitted, both on the network side and on the mobile side. Our team, so we try to make it as simple as we can for the vCom customers. So all they have to do is kind of tell us what they want and they sign off on it. And then we go and translate that into the different customer systems, the different the different carrier systems, the different carrier protocols that they need to get the orders delivered and get the orders moving forward. Like I said, we've been doing this a long time, so we know what each different carrier is looking for in these orders, to where a customer or somebody that's not doing this on a day-to-day basis, they may spend an entire day just trying to get something submitted to like an AT&T to get the services that they're looking for because they're not familiar with their system. They're not familiar with their nomenclature. There's a lot of things that they just don't know that we work with on a day-to-day basis. So that's really what we bring to the table. And that's the tagline that we like to use is we manage what you shouldn't have to. So that starts from the upfront ordering piece all the way to test and turn up.
What role does automation or technology play into your team's value or contribution?
Automation comes into play because it allows us to focus on what we need to focus on. So it saves us the time on sending an email, so to speak, or drafting an email that can be automated based off of the information we have in our system, and it goes to the customer. So that 2-3 minutes per email that we have to send, a lot of that is automated to where we don't have to spend that time. And you translate that to somebody who has 200, 400 orders. That saves them quite a bit of time that they can focus on really driving the orders and getting things completed as quickly as possible.
Is it true that our team, our NOC, answers phone calls in under 30 seconds and addresses each trouble ticket in like less than 2 minutes or something like that? How are we able to achieve that kind of number? It sounds very quick to me.
The best way that I would say it's the standard that we've set. Our customers deserve the support that we're giving them. And on the flip side, we're very demanding of the carriers. So the thought process is if we're going to demand that of the carriers, we need to demand that of ourselves as well. So we make it a priority to make that work happen the way that it does.
I know sometimes the operations side of things can be a kind of recognitionless land. You kind of do things behind the scenes. But is there any success story or stories that you can think of about how your team has drastically improved like another organization or business?
Serving as the customer advocate, we're really trying to get things done as quickly as possible. I would say probably one of the biggest success stories that we run into is, let's say, one of our customers is moving and nobody passed it along to the IT team. So they're going to open up this new location, next week. And typical, depending on the carrier and what type of service, you're looking at 30 to 90 days to get something installed. That's the standard intervals with the different carriers. So we've run into many situations where, we've had a week or 2 weeks to get something installed, to get customer service in the new locations that they're going to. So what we do in those instances is we leverage our contacts or relationships that we built, and we use that. We get the orders in. We have to follow the process because carriers can't do anything without an order. So we do get the orders in and moving forward. But as soon as we get that order in, we're reaching out to our contacts that we built over the years, saying, hey, need some help. This customer is going to be out of service, or they have a grand opening in a week and a half, and we really need to get this service installed. What can you do for me? What do you have at this location? Sometimes we're not able to get exactly what the customer needs, but by leveraging those relationships, we find out what is there and available at the location, and we may be able to get them something that they can use, either lower bandwidth than they needed just so they can get by, or we'll find another solution like maybe a microwave or a mobility solution just to get them up and running so they're not without services at this location. That's probably one of the biggest assets that we bring to our customers in those instances, that we can work with our contacts and get things done a lot sooner when we run into these types of situations.
I'm hearing it's our expertise, our intention towards our customers, but it's also we can leverage the relationships we have to help solve a problem that you might not otherwise have been able to solve.
That goes back to what we were talking about is we've been doing this a long time, and we've been able to cultivate those relationships. And the IT manager that, they just do an order once every 6 months, they don't have that type of relationship, that information built up, that storehouse.
If you were to, look at that IT manager is doing like one order per month. Our team is doing countless orders,
hundreds
every single day. We just naturally pick up that expertise and that experience because of the sheer amount of times that we as a team do it. Any final thoughts from you before we close?
Yeah, I would just say, we're here to serve as the advocate for the customers, and that's really why we're here and what we're in business for. So we want to make things easier for you, no matter how hard it is for us.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Matt. Thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure talking to you, and take care and have a good one.
Yeah. Thanks, Jethro. Talk to you soon.
If you have any questions about the topics you hear on BrainDrop, feel free to email us at braindrop@vcomsolutions.com. Thanks for listening.